Everybody, we are really excited for this next part. We are going to hear about, we are going to hear about how to have a first impression that negotiates for you. And we have a rock star presenter, Sandy Grigsby, who is a personal branding image consultant, LinkedIn learning instructor, and a TEDx speaker who's about to have her second TEDx. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, it's Sandy in Focus. So I'll let Sandy take it away.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to see you all. I am Sandy Grigsby. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I have so much information to share with you. I'm super excited because let's face it, I love what I do, and I hope you all can bear with me. I'm going to try to speed through this a little bit so that I can get to your questions. So let's begin. Let me screen share here. All right. So just as a quick introduction, I am Sandy Grigsby. I'm a personal branding image expert. And the way that I became a personal branding image expert was I started out as a graphic designer, designing branding, websites, logos, the whole entire thing, packaging, everything. And then I became a portrait photographer. And my background from all of this is that I used to be a commercial print model. So I started out as a commercial print model when I was 18 years old, and I learned what it was like to be behind the camera and in front of the camera and the whole shebang. I worked with huge companies such as T-Mobile, Apple Computer, Tempur-Pedic, if you guys remember that, things like that. So I ended up just being thrown into personal branding out the gate. Well, I want you guys to consider all of the celebrities that you see. So think of someone like a George Clooney, right? He is a human connection for people to sell their products. Well, when it comes to personal branding, you are the same thing. I want you guys to think of yourself as a George Clooney, or everyone knows her, Julia Roberts, same thing. So you can see that they are used in advertising and marketing to sell these products, perfume, watches, purses, clothing, because of their human connection. You'll notice that they're always leaning in, they're smiling. And if they're not smiling, we're going to go back here, they have that intrigue about them, okay? Now, branding companies and product lines want to use these people because of their human connection. You wouldn't use a gorilla or a fox to sell the same ads, would you? I mean, you can see here, it just doesn't work, right? So when you're working on your personal brand, you really need to focus on your own persona. And what is your persona? Well, the dictionary defines a persona as a person's perceived or evident personality. And I like to just call it your image, okay? So it's your image, and your image is used to market yourself. Like I said, big corporations use celebrities to market their products. You, in a way, are your own celebrity. So how can you make a powerful first impression to make that happen for yourself, your business? Even if you don't own your own business, if you're working for a corporation, you're still representing them as the persona behind that brand. Okay, so how do you make the right first impression? Well, to begin, you have to be able to elevate your status. And that's what the right first impression can do. It elevates your status. When people look at you, they think of you in a different way. Also, you want to be able to attract the right people. If you can attract the right people to you, your job is so much easier. You want to be able to speed up decisions. If someone sees you and they get the right first impression, they're going to make a much faster decision on whether to work with you, buy from you, or talk about you. And that's the whole goal of our persona. We want people to want to talk about us. We want people to want to connect with us, work with us. You also can get your persona to close deals for you. So again, think back to the Julia Roberts poster, right? Her smile, her warmth, leaning in, inspires people to want to be like her and buy the perfume that she's promoting. So what are things that are going to make this wrong and not work for you? If you don't focus on your persona, Ultimately, what's the cost of that first impression? Now, this is really important. Most people overlook what the cost is. First of all, missed opportunities. You can easily miss an opportunity if someone gets the wrong first impression. So for example, if your image that you're sending out there, and this is whether you're in videos, in person, on your social media profiles, on your LinkedIn, if it's sending the wrong message, then someone might look at it and judge you off of that, thinking maybe you're not friendly, thinking maybe that you just don't care, maybe you have other priorities, and they're going to skip you. Or if you get introduced by someone and they look up your profile and it's not what the person had said, they might go, no, maybe they were just exaggerating, and they might skip over you, okay? So your first impression can cost you a lot if you're not making sure it's a good one. Also, you're less persuasive. So what does that mean? That means if you are talking to someone and you're not being really who you are, the real you, and you're not making a great first impression, it's going to be harder for them to believe what you have to offer. Okay. And this doesn't just mean like we're talking about salesy people who come off too strong. This is also if you come off too soft. If your first impression is much too soft, like you're not confident in yourself, that you doubt what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and what you're selling, you are making the wrong first impression, and it could cost you because you won't be persuasive. Also, you get less referrals. Referrals are our gift to the universe. They are the easiest way to make money. Most of my business comes from referrals. People love what I do, so they talk about it to other people. I get a call out of the blue. Oh my gosh, someone told me about you. I looked you up on your website and I really want to work with you. So you want to make sure that that first impression that you're putting out there is such a great one that it captures those referrals and it reaffirms the great things that other people are saying about you. Okay. Also, less engagement, right? So if your impression is weak, which I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment, you'll get less engagement. People are just not going to want to interact with you. And lastly, you have to work harder. Who wants to work harder? Get your first impression to do all of the work for you. Show up in a way that people go, wow, this person, they seem so committed and dedicated. They seem like they're fun to work with. Oh, they're so serious. They know what they're talking about. Allow your first impression to do the work for you. So here's an example of a first impression. I see this time and time again on social media. Now I'm just targeting Instagram here, but this happens across the board. It happens on LinkedIn. It happens on, believe it or not, Pinterest, which is a great traffic source for people. It happens on Instagram. Well, this is Instagram, on TikTok, on all of these different platforms. But this is a typical scenario. So someone will have a username, right? And they will have their business link. And then in their profile, it really tells nothing about them. So to begin, there's no photo. The photo is of their dog, a sunset, their cat, their kids, or it's such a tiny little minuscule photo of themselves, we don't actually know what they look like. So what I would love for all of you to do right now is pause and look at your Instagram. Are you following this pattern? And if you are, guess what? It's time for a change. How exciting. All right, and I'm going to show you what to do. So don't worry, I'll make this easy. Okay, next. Who is this person? People are hiding on their social media profile. So when you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, you can't find a picture of what they look like. Remember back to the human connection part? We want to be able to connect with you on a human level. And if we can't see you or learn about you or know if you're funny or if you're kind or if you're intelligent, we can't make a good adjustment, a good assessment. We can't make that first impression on you. So if your profile looks like this, you got a little bit of work to do. And if confidence is your issue and you're afraid to put yourself out there, don't worry. There are fixes for that too. All it takes is experience, and that's how you get your confidence. So you just have to start by posting something, and I'll show you what to post in a little bit, but that will get you there. Also, this is a big one. Is this a business? People don't actually know. It says that it's a business, but we don't know your name, right? We don't know anything about it, and it doesn't even show business related things in the post. I know you're looking at this going, but this is obvious, Sandy. It looks ridiculous. I can tell you, I see this time and time and time again. When people ask me to review their profiles, this is a mirror image of what I see most often. Okay. So have pictures of yourself, have your name up at the top, and have information actually relating to your business. And if you don't own a business, but you work for a company, that's okay, because you can still talk about what you do for that company. All right, let me tell you a little bit about my story. I had mentioned that I started out as a commercial print model. And here's an example. I was the T-Mobile sidekick girl. They called me Sidekick Sandy at corporate office. And I did that for a while. I worked with United. Like I said, I worked with Sony. I worked with PlayStation, all of these different companies. And I got to experience firsthand what it was to be in front of the camera, and how to position my face, my body, how to give the right message for the ad that they were selling, okay? And I ended up using that experience that I had. I was a model for actually up until the pandemic when all the bookings kind of stopped. So let's say over 20 years, okay? Over 20 years I was modeling, and I used what I learned to work with my clients. And I ended up starting out as a graphic designer. I was working for some of the top photographers in Los Angeles, helping build celebrity websites for their celebrities. And the celebrities I worked with were people like Carmen Electra or Carl Lewis or other famous athletes and huge celebrities. And I was building their websites based off of the gorgeous pictures that these photographers were taking. And when I branched out onto my own, I started working with small businesses like chiropractic offices and photographers and other artists and jewelry designers. And I was taking products of their photos of their products, and eventually I convinced them to allow me to take photos of them so I could make better websites. Over time, I ended up getting really bad pictures of these people. And so I used my modeling experience to teach them how to pose to look really incredible on the camera. In their photos. So really fast, I wanted to show you guys, this was my journey. When I started out transitioning from doing more web work into photography work, these were the pictures that I was using to brand myself. Now, why is this important? When I was branding myself, I thought my persona needed to be similar to my modeling experience. So as you guys can see, I was using my modeling headshots. They were professional. They looked really good. And that's what I was used to. But what I didn't realize is that I was sending the wrong message. The modeling persona was supposed to be seductive and sultry. And when I realized it wasn't working, I decided to shift. So I started marketing myself with my pets, thinking I was adding more personality into my brand. The problem was, if you look at my face, I still had that model persona face, and that wasn't working. So I made a reiteration. And I finally nailed it. I came out with a new look that felt true to my business. And I showed my personality, which was much more bubbly than this cold face right here, right? So let's go back through these. The problem was I had marketed myself in a way that I thought other people wanted to see me. This wasn't actually me. And it was getting me business, but my clients would say, oh, Sandy, yeah, I'm surprised to see you in all black because it just doesn't feel like you, because it wasn't me. And then I finally was able to brand myself in a way that felt like me. And then I was able to continue it through my journey when I launched my podcast and I did other things. And ultimately, I finally hit home with images that authentically and truly represent my personality. And I hope you guys can see that since the moment I jumped on. That's me. Hi, I'm Sandy Grigsby, your confidence catalyst. All right, I would love for you to consider how your image is representing you. Take a moment and look at your social media profiles. Look at your LinkedIn profile, for example. Does that photograph represent you? Does it feel true to you? Does it show your personality? Does it make people see the inner workings of who you actually are? Look at this image, for example. This is very typical of what people post for their social media profiles. And it's a nice image, it's professional, she looks pretty, but does this image actually capture who she is? Now, compare this image to this one, where you can see the joy and you see the energy coming out of her. I ask you, would you hire the person on the left or would you hire the person on the right? So when you look at your image, consider, do you have the same effect? Are you conveying a message that isn't quite right? And can you kick it up a notch to get people more excited about working with you? So how does this look? This is one of my clients before. This is what she was using to market herself. And as you can see from her body posture and the way her head is tilted, she seems kind of shy, a little bit insecure. Her hair is a bit messy, and she just seems like she doubts herself. Well, what's interesting about her is she's one of the top financial advisors ever. She helps people learn about ethical investments and to invest in those products. She's one of the best. But if you saw this picture, you wouldn't know she was one of the best. So after she went through my process, this was the end result. You can see the energy is different. You can see the vibration is different. The confidence is there. She's incredible at what she does, and it really shows. All right, since I love before and afters, let me show you a couple more. Same thing here. This woman came to me. She was looking to find work. She was struggling to find a job, and she felt like she couldn't compete with other people in her marketplace. So we put her through the process. We found out what she was really confident in, which it wasn't technology, but it was learning new things. So she had the capability to learn something new. She just had forgotten over time. This is the after. Now you can see the huge change. The before, she looks unsure, insecure, doubtful. The after, she looks like a boss, confident and powerful. All right, I'll show you another one because it's so good. Here's another one of my clients. Now, this woman, this is the image she actually was using to market herself. I took this picture of a poster of her. This was a poster at her live event. She's a spiritual guru. She speaks on stage about all kinds of stuff, angels, all kinds of stuff, light and bright and amazing. This image was not properly representing her. It was too dark. It was too heavy. The quality was bad. There were so many things off with the image. Once we were done, it was breathtaking. Okay, so I want you to consider, what is your image sending? What message is it sending? And how can you shift it to capture the right message? All right, so how do you ensure that you're making a great first impression? Well, you can begin by avoiding these two biggest mistakes. I'm only going to give you two, there are more, but these two are the biggest ones, okay? We're going to start with number 2, using poor quality images or no image. No image. If you have no image, I don't care what you do right now, quickly change it. Put an image up, because no image is the death sentence. I can tell you on LinkedIn, when people see your profile, you know how I can request to connect with them, they will delete you or ignore you if you have no image. Also, if your image is set to private, which happens without even realizing it, you can actually set your profile image to private. You will not get accepted as a connection. So make sure you have an image. So this is the worst thing you could do on social media. It's the absolute worst thing you could do for your personal brand. Do not do this. The very first thing you should do is upload an image. Okay. Then poor lighting, a blurry image, bad conditions. This is a death sentence too. People are tired of it with the technology today. Your phones can take such beautiful pictures that there's no excuse of having a blurry, out of focus, grainy, weird, low quality image. It's just not an excuse anymore. So make sure you get rid of those and have something that shines, that radiates, that's clear and sharp and beautiful and really shows your personality. It's absolutely key. All right, number 1. Having an image that sends the wrong message. So you saw in my pictures how I was showing that model-esque pose, and then it went to the joyful, confident pose. Well, when I was showing the model pose, I was coming across as sultry and seductive. And you know what? I didn't mention this earlier, but all I was attracting were dates. I wasn't getting clients. I was getting people who wanted to date me. And it was really, really frustrating because I would book someone for a photo session and they would hit on me and it would be awkward and uncomfortable. Okay. So once I switched that, then people started taking me seriously and they knew that I was going to do a great job because I was confident in myself and I was excited to work with them and they were excited to work with me in return. So if you have an image that sends the wrong message, you are killing your personal brand and your persona. So what are things that are sending the wrong message? First of all, images like the smirk. I know they look cool. You're like, but a smirk makes me look confident. No, this is actually voted the #1 most loathed facial expression that you can ever put out there. So look at your image. Are you smirking? If you're smirking, which is where you pull up one side of your mouth, then that is a no-go and people are hating your image. They might tell you they like it to your face, which is usually just someone not telling you the truth, but they hate it. Subconsciously, people hate it. So get rid of the smirk, all right? You're welcome for that one. Okay. Also, the snarl, right? People snarl and you might think, why would somebody snarl? Well, some people don't realize they're snarling and they think they're smiling, but they're super uncomfortable in the photo session. So it actually translates to a snarl, okay? Fake smile. Ooh, that's a bad one. The fake smile. I'm sure you've seen those profiles where people have that fake forced smile where they look super stressed because they're uncomfortable. This is a killer. You don't want to have the fake smile. You want to have true happiness, true joy, an authentic smile. And the way that you can guarantee that you have an authentic smile is by looking for these markers. First of all, raised cheeks. Crow's feet, dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry, I tell you all to have crow's feet, but you absolutely should. Little babies have crow's feet, okay? So don't think that, oh my God, I have to have Botox there, or I can't have crow's feet, it'll age me. No, you want to have crow's feet because it shows authenticity. It shows that you're truly engaging those muscles and it's a real smile. So you absolutely want crow's feet. And then show your teeth. Teeth are really important. And if you don't like your smile, you don't like your teeth, you can do a closed mouth smile. But I'm telling you, even with a slightly crooked tooth, it's fine. Smile. People love to see teeth, even if they're not perfect. So go ahead, show your teeth. All right, here side by side is a poor example versus a great example. So you can see the poor example is a blank image. It doesn't show any personality compared to one where you're absolutely smiling and showing your personality. And there's also something very important. It's the banner. Don't leave your banners blank. There are banners on Pinterest. There are banners on LinkedIn. All of these platforms have banners. Facebook has banners. Make sure you actually use that space. It's free advertising for you, okay? So put whatever you can in the banner to tell a better story about you. And lastly, I want you to think about what your words are that authentically represent you, because your words will help you demonstrate who you actually are, what you're all about, what makes you unique. So you have to come up with your words. And the way to do that is, I want you to think of 5 words that best represent you. Okay, write those down. What are 5 words that best represent you? You could say you are kind. You can say you're funny. You can say you're hardworking, dedicated, committed, loyal. Whatever those words are, I want you to come up with 5 words that best represent you. Then, to get one step further, I'd like you to come up with 5 words that your friends and family would use to describe you. What are those words? Write those down. 5 words that your friends and family would use to describe you. Then I want you to think of 5 words that would describe you as a child between the ages of 2 or 3, so as early as you can remember, and no older than about 6, maybe 7. So think of yourself as a child. What were you like? Were you a connector? Did you play with other kids? Were you friendly? Were you nurturing? Were you always trying to grab animals and hug them and have them sleep with you in your bed and cuddle? Were you a nurturing child? Were you funny? Were you inquisitive? How were you as a child? Then I want you to take all of those words. You should have 15 words right now. Figure out which ones are overlapping. So if you have words that are stacking, so they're the same words from different categories, then you know that those words immediately are some of your core words. Then I want you to take, if you only say to have 2 or 3, pick any other words, even if they weren't your initial words, because all of these words represent you. And from there, pick 5 or 6 words and use those words as the intention behind your personal brand, the intention behind your persona, and really live in those words. When you own your words, you can make sure that your image authentically and really represents you. So this is a photograph of Sandra Pelletier. She is the CEO of EvoFem Bioessence Incorporated. And her words were fun, energetic, kind, dedicated, and confident. And you can absolutely see that in this photograph of her. It radiates. All right. All right, so that was it. I'm going to open it up for questions. But before we get there, the last thing is I am a LinkedIn learning instructor. My LinkedIn learning course, Creating Your Online Image, just dropped on LinkedIn just a few weeks back. You can get free access to this course if you don't have LinkedIn Premium. And all you have to do is scan this barcode or click the link in the chat, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's really important. You must connect with me. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and I will send you access to my course for 24 hours for free. The only thing that I ask you is at the end of the course, please give me a 5-star rating. And if you want to leave me a glowing review, I would ever so much appreciate it. And if you share it with your friends, as soon as you click the link, you can also extend it for another 24 hours. All right. So thank you. I'm Sandy Grigsby, and you can find me at sandyandfocus.com or on LinkedIn or at Sandy and Focus on Instagram. And all right, let's open it up for some questions. Okay, here. David, should I just jump into the chat?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say, I think Erica had one in the chat. So
perfect. What if you notoriously suffer from Chandler phase? How do you find a photographer that you will feel comfortable to work with? Okay, so here's the deal. When you're looking for a photographer, it's really important to find someone who photographs in the style that you love. So what I always recommend is I start my clients by having them, first of all, learn their words. What are your words? Once you know your words, everything becomes easy, okay? Super easy. So find your words, and then you create a mood board. And on this mood board, you pick your style, which would be the way that you would love to dress, even if you're not dressing that way now. You can pick things that you love, and you're creating an environment of everything that you gravitate towards and love. Once you have that mood board, you're going to add to it photographs that would best represent you and what you're doing. So if you are a coder, you would probably have a photograph of someone working at the computer and being really excited about working at the computer because they're passionate about coding and they love it. So put that on your mood board. Then when your photographer sees it, they will be able to duplicate that. Okay, so that's the first thing. You want to make sure that you've already curated the look that you want for your personal brand. Then when you're looking for a photographer, see if they match that style with the way that they photograph. And if they do, then get on the phone with them before you actually work with them. Build a rapport. Don't just go in cold. So make sure that you're having fun with that photographer. If you're more comfortable with a woman or you're more comfortable with a man, then select a photographer that's going to make you feel more comfortable. Build a rapport. That way, when you get on the photo session day, you get on the set, you're not going to be so uptight and making the faces. You can be more relaxed and actually be yourself. So that's really important. And then if you feel like you don't love the faces that you're making, what I recommend is for people to practice in the mirror. Practice your smile. Look at how you're smiling. Are your teeth too exposed at the bottom? If you guys go on my Instagram, I have a video on how to smile. It's one of my top rated videos, and you can see how I recommend you smile or don't smile. So I teach you how to take your bottom lip and touch the top teeth right there like that. And that is a really natural, authentic smile to practice doing, because sometimes people over smile. Okay. So you just have to practice it. Okay. So let's see. What kind of banner image should we use? So the banner image that you should use would be something that represents what you're doing to tell a better story. So maybe your story is that you like to work with other people. So in your banner image, have an image of you working with someone and actually engaging with them and telling a story. Ken Rakowski, who's up next, he is an interviewer. He was a radio talk show host and he's a speaker. So his banner image on LinkedIn is him interviewing people on a stage. So it tells a really powerful story. All right. Okay. Sorry, there's so many questions here and I know we're running out of time. So let me just jump to the last one. So the course, just so you all know, on LinkedIn Learning, it's only an hour course, so it's super short. If you want to learn more about my programs, you can learn that on sandyandfocus.com. And my words are confident, funny, compassionate, passionate, and friendly. So I have a whole bunch of words that I love, and I hope I conveyed them to you. All right. Hold on. I think we still have, nope, we're out of time. Thank you so much. All right, David.
Thanks, Sandy. Over to Liz.
Well, thank you so much, Sandy. That was so much fun. I was looking at my profiles and your profiles and Ken's profile the whole time. And excellent tips. And photography just makes all the difference. I work with a lot of authors, and every media reporter wants a headshot, right? So I send them to a professional photographer immediately if they don't have good headshots, because it really matters. They'll decide, I'm not going to interview that person because they don't like the picture. So great tips. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Yay.
Actually, can I add one last thing? Because I saw a really important question from someone. They said, what about age discrimination for people who are older? The one thing that I want you to consider is people right now, with the way that the world is going, they're looking for experience and someone who's going to get the job done right. I work with so many entrepreneurs and executives and CEOs, and the first thing they say is they look for a photo before they even read the profile. And they judge the photo based off of if that person looks like they can get the job done and if they're easy and friendly to work with. That's really important. So I don't think it's so much about age, because I also know a lot of people who are terminating their younger employees because they have a poor work ethic. So if you're worried about age discrimination, now's your chance to shine. If you show that you're radiant and that you know what you're doing and you're confident about what you're doing, you're going to get your foot in the door over someone who's younger and isn't doing a really great job. And if you want to look great on pictures, the smile. If you have anything that you want to hide on your face, smile. I mean, it makes you look so much younger. I'm 44 years old. I'm smiling in all my pictures and everyone thinks I'm much younger. So that's one of the secret tips.
I love it. I love
Thank you.
it. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much. And now we are going to switch over to Ken.